some hitting. I like that lineup 1 through 9. It's fun. You'll be able to bet them. Camden Yards, the move of the fences back in a little bit in left field, so maybe more home runs there that you could take a look at as opposed to that travesty helping their pitching staff and ruining the crown jewel ballparks in America.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Have you ever noticed small sparks of static electricity when you pull apart adhesive tape accidentally stuck together? New American Chemical Society research lighting up 300 LEDs by harvesting useful electric power from ripping apart regular store-bought plastic or aluminum tape. A device converting mechanical energy into electricity is referred to by physics as a triboelectric nanogenerator. Intended for wearable electronics, possibly in the future, triboelectric nanogenerators might even enable small, portable medical devices. Powered by ripping off a Band-Aid. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Carver and Lisi.
Read all about it. Read all about it. JoJo Fonseca smash. He's too big to lose. Too big to fail. If I would have saw what this guy looked like, he was skinny, he was underweight, he couldn't handle the pressure, and he was in a pool of sweat, which meant that his nerves were getting the best of him.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
When the weather cools off,
Major League Baseball playoffs heat up. Sit tight. The World Series is coming. Keep it here for every bit of the action with strategies and information to give you the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Please welcome.
It's the opening kickoff with Carver and Lisi.
All right, off and running on Friday night. Carver and Lisi, SportsGrid Radio, Sirius, channel 159. Lisi holding it down for the next couple of hours, but fear not, with Carver High out on assignment. I'm joined, as always, with gentleman Georgie Boy Kurtz. George, it's Friday night. It's Friday night and Saturday, Sunday, Mon. It's Friday night and Saturday, Sunday, Mon. You haven't been with me on a Friday night. In the off season, I don't know if you're aware of this, we at times turn Carver and Lisi, when we used to have the music, into disco Friday nights, George. So put on your Capizios. We're dancing with a little bit of NBA action on this Friday night. How are you?
Capizios, that brings back a memory. One of my favorite scenes, by the way, in the movie Airplane is, when the plane's over, I think it's Chicago, whatever it is, when disco lives forever and the plane takes out the antenna and there's the disco's dead. So it's one of my favorite scenes in that movie there. Like I said, it's Friday night. No off season, Joe. The NHL begins tomorrow. I'm a little hyped up here. NHL gets going. The regular season, the Four Nations was fantastic, but it's over now. Spring training. Hey, Yankees opened up today. Finally got one right there. Lost to the Dodgers yesterday. Won on the Yankees today. Small bets, nothing big here. And maybe the last spring training game I bet for a little while. I had to bet it, Joe. There's nothing else. There's nothing else going on today, so I had to bet it here. But now that NHL starts again tomorrow, I may not touch spring training until a couple of weeks where these players will play a little longer in the game and not just one at bat.
Well, George, where's your face hair now? The Yankees came out. You can have a beard now, right? Or I mean, I thought you'd have like a goatee for the show or something like that. A
well-groomed beard. A well-groomed beard, according to what the the statement said here. Listen, it's been an idiotic policy forever. All right, I'm not saying you should be. I keep saying ZZ Top. I'm not saying you should be ZZ Top, but you should be able to grow a facial hair if you want. Who the hell cares? And if it makes you play better, if you feel better, go for it. if I'm Steinbrenner. I don't care. Wear whatever you want to wear. So it's about time the Yankees let this happen here. So I have a funny feeling you're going to see a lot of beards on the Yankees. I thought Gleyber Torres had a great remark. He's on the Detroit Tigers now. Oh, now they do it. Now they let you. And by the way, you want to throw a conspiracy theory out here? Should they have done this before the players reported, like 10 days ago, so the players could have kept their beard? I think Devin Williams, the new Yankee, might have wanted to keep his beard from Milwaukee. So he'll throw it back, I imagine. But listen, it has nothing to do with sports. It's not going to help the Yankees win any more games, but it's long overdue, in my opinion.
All right, so we'll see what transpires. Maybe the Yankees are live. I did put in one bet. Now, George and I did great yesterday. George did very well with the hockey. I lost the over 5.5, but I hit both. I thought they were losers last night. I went to bed after the show, and somebody hit me up, Billy Russo, who listens to the show. You got them. I counted them as losers. Both of the parlays I put in last night, George, with about 5 minutes, hit pay dirt. We slammed it last night. So we're going back to the well with Friday night NBA. You ready for this? I'm going to bring you in. I'm going to bring you down with me. We're going to go to the game, New Orleans, the Pelicans and Mavericks. I took C.J. McCollum, 4 threes, Kyrie Irving for 4 assists, and Zion Williamson for 20 points. With a profit boost, George, that pays plus 395. So that's what I'm in on right now. I'll probably jump in on a little others, but let me update everybody, okay? So in-game hoops, we got Milwaukee Bucks trailing the Wizards on the road right now. Wizards up 54-48. In-game numbers, minus 125 for the Wizards, 220.5 juice to the over at minus 118. You got the Grizzlies and Magic. Great game. 46-45, 2:30 left in the second. Magic up 1, plus 112 on the money line for the Magic. 220.5 is the in-game total. Knicks getting absolutely smashed by Donovan Mitchell and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Right now, Cavs up by 21, 64-43. 17.5 is the in-game number. 246.5 is the in-game total. And then underway, I hate this team. Ever since Jimmy Butler left, Miami Heat up 27-16. 10.5 is the in-game number. Minus 500 on the money line for the Heat. And 210.5 juiced at minus 114 either way. So we'll keep you updated there. You got Spurs and Pistons tipping off. I talked about the Pelicans and Mavs, T-Wolves and Houston Rockets. Full slate. I don't know if I could bet anything else just yet because the NBA, at times, I get a little crazy with the in-game numbers. We'll see how it plays out. But that's what we have, George. Quick thoughts. What did they do? 9.3 million viewership for last night's game? Not a bad number.
Not a bad number at all. The books are also telling us that this game last night, the one game was bet like an early window NFL game on a Sunday, like a 1 p.m. game on an NFL Sunday. So people were paying attention. That's what the book said here. So people were paying attention. They were betting on it. They were watching it. Listen, it was a fantastic tournament. I've said it many times. My only negative was that the Russians have to be involved next time. You just can't call this the best of the best without the Russians involved. I don't care what's going on in the world. They have to be in there. I understand they would make the tournament longer, right? Because now you need a 6 team as well, which probably is the Czechs. They have to be there as well. And Leon Draisaitl, who's German, he has to figure out a way to play too. Maybe Team Czechoslovakia needs to be Team Eastern Europe or something, or Team Europe. I don't know, something like that. But they have to figure out a way to get everybody involved there. But it was fantastic. It was a really great game last night. Jordan Bennington, he made some, a shift or two before the game-winning goal. McDavid Bennington made saves that were out of this world. He stepped up when he had to. You can make an argument he outplayed Hellebuck, and I would make that argument. I think he probably should have been MVP. He wasn't great, but he was there when Canada needed him. He played very well. Good for Jordan Bennington there. And McDavid with the game-winning goal there. That was pretty much a cluster F by the Team USA there. How do you let the best player in the world wide open 20 feet in front of the net? That can't happen.
I understand I understand, and I saw that was on X last night. Everybody's like, I'm not a hockey fan, but how does that happen? It was a bang play, though. It was definitely a missed assignment because it was in the corner.
Connor McDavid. You cannot miss an assignment on Connor McDavid. This is like letting let's just let Justin Jefferson run wide open down the field. They won't throw the ball to him. You can't do that. You just can't.
But it's hockey. It's not like you have a spy on the guy, George. No, I'm not making any excuses.
It's
Clearly,
Connor McDavid.
It was in the corner. It was in the corner. They were fighting for a loose puck. I mean, it was.
I'm with George. I'm with George on this one. Are you kidding me? He shouldn't have been going over there. There was already a guy. He went to double him up. He left his assignment. He messed up.
You can't do that.
It was obvious.
You can't. Listen, it can't happen. Not in overtime. In the first period, fine. It just can't happen in that situation. It can't. It's not the biggest f up I've ever seen. I've seen worse, but that's a major mistake there. That just can't happen there. Hey, I said Team USA. Brady Tkachuk had an almost empty net. It was a bad angle, but he also had an empty net there. Right. I know our boy Matthias. He had Dylan Larkin had some chances earlier. Team USA probably should have won the game earlier. They didn't. I said Bennington came up big, and then one mistake because USA was dominating. They were dominating that overtime, and it was one mistake to get the wrong. I mean, listen, there's a lot of guys who'd be the wrong guy. Right? McKinnon would be the wrong guy. Crosby would have been the wrong guy. But it was McDavid, and he buried it. And good for him, good for Team Canada. But most important, it was fantastic, and I can't wait to see it again.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, a lot of people were saying, this is the way to go. The interest, it felt like a mini Olympics. Having the 4 teams and breaking it down. And when you have a game that goes to overtime, George, I mean, what better viewership can you have than that? I mean, it went right down to the wire. So couldn't get better. Credit to Team Canada. They pulled through. We'll come back. We'll break down some NBA, some NFL talk coming up next on Carver and Lisi.
It's dead simple. Listen to SportsGrid is smart. Don't listen to SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. It should be obvious. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Football Full Circle.
If you make a bet based off a new coordinator early on, you're potentially setting yourself up for either disaster or losing money. Look at what Vic Fangio did after game number 4. People wanted to run him out of town after Kirk Cousins gets that game-winning drive. From that point on, best defense in the NFL.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please, don't wait. Your life matters to us. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Days are getting cooler.
The shadows are getting longer.
You know what that means. It's football weather. So bundle up and keep it here for all the latest strategies and gridiron information. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Friday nights on the grid. Little Carver and Lisi in your life, minus Carver. Out on assignment. We kicked him to the curb for the weekend. I love him. He's out at the Grey Goose Lodge or something. What is it, the Grey Wolf Lodge? He's somewhere. He's miserable. He's with the kids.
He's in Pennsylvania.
He's in Pennsylvania.
Great Wolf.
Great Wolf Lodge. I could see him right now. He's probably got the what is it, like the raccoon hat on, sipping some IGAs, hanging out, having the
Right
old
now,
90s
he's trying to find a
picture.
drink right about now. All right? And
Yeah,
when I say a drink,
absolutely.
I'm not talking about the Pepsi that I'm drinking. I'm talking, he's talking about a real drink.
George, I told you. It's not his kids. His kids are beautiful. It's when you're down in a lodge with other people's kids that get in your hair and they're screaming and they're crying. That's where, that's it. Don't wake me up until about
drink.
2 o'clock. Right. He hits the drink. And then all of a sudden, all day, he's on the water slide. It's about 85 degrees in there. You can barely feel yourself breathe. Humid, musty, bacteria everywhere from all these kids. You know how it goes, right? And at the end of the day, he's making golf bets on the side. So, he's probably miserable right now, even though he's on vacation. I love him. So we'll see. Now, he was on Toasty, this golf tournament that he pulled me into. I think I'm dead and buried with this. I had Emiliano Grillo. The guy that leads this tournament, I think, was like 16 under. You hear me? 16 under, George, in this PGA tournament. The guy that I had was like 2 under. Guy's 16 under. I don't even know. Porter Guider. I don't even know. 16 shot 10 under today in round 2. Unbelievable. You got Campbell, the hack that I had, Grillo. He's not even on the map, this guy. I don't even know. I have a $20,000 ticket on Grillo if he can make the cut. The guy's a hack. Absolutely pathetic. So what can I bring you into in terms of the NBA tonight? Can I get you in on one bet? One bet and one bet only. You want to take a side or a total, or you want a prop? You tell me.
I've had listen, yesterday was great. I only bet the Yankee game today, small bet, but I won it. Yeah, so you can definitely get me in on one. I'm having a good time here. We'll see if we can keep the streak going.
All right, let me see. How about this? Let's go. How about, let's see. Why don't we do this? Anthony Edwards, right, for 30 points tonight. Even money.
Now let's look at Mr. Edwards here. I don't know. I don't even know what team he plays on, by the way.
Well, he's on Minnesota Timberwolves. He's one of the best players in the league.
Joe, let's take him for 4 threes, Joe.
Let's
take him for 4 threes.
There he is, the kryptonite. You see the kryptonite, how he comes in? 30 points or bust, Matthias, even money. I'm not going with the threes. We'll go even money with Anthony Edwards. Yes or no? Here we go. George is breaking it down.
I'm looking.
I'm with you, Joe. Hey, Joe. Sabonis bounds tonight. Sabonis bounds tonight, baby. Sabonis bounds against the undersized Golden State Warriors. Sabonis bounds. Let's go 20 bounds.
20 bounds for Sabonis.
30 points.
Let's do it, Joe. I know you like that, Joe. That's a big number right there, but you know what? You can do it.
He's got 30 and 4 of his. Well, 3 of his past 5. He's missed the last 2, though. He got actually 40 points in 3 of his last 5. All right. The numbers are saying he should get there.
All right, let's take, and then we'll go with the late game. You ready? We'll put one more in. All right? Hang on.
I thought it was 1. You were convincing me of 1. Now you want me to convince me of 2.
What? One more. Jimmy Butler. Okay? Jimmy Butler.
Him too.
All right. 20 points. It's minus 184. That pays 208.
I'm not good. No, I told you I don't bet after minus 160, 165. Come on.
All right, hang on. All right. So you want to take him for 25?
I can parlay
25. It. All right. How about this? Jimmy Butler for 25 and Anthony Edwards for 30. That pays 436, George. Come on.
Now to show you my NBA knowledge or lack of NBA knowledge, is Butler the guy who just got traded?
Yes.
He was the problem child in Miami?
Yep.
Right. By the way, this will let you know, boys and girls, how much of sports rage I work on, because I would never know this in a million years without Gabe on Rage. And he talks about this.
That's
all
it.
right, so
we're
Butler,
bringing you into new waters. Come on.
Yeah. I'm going to drown. Butler, he's only had 25 points once since being traded there, and he got the number evens. Odds are that ain't happening.
Yeah, but think of this. The stars typically come out on Friday night in the NBA. This is going to be a game that people are going to look at. It's the Kings and Warriors. Warriors are on the road. We know that Steph Curry is not the same player. And Jimmy Butler on a Friday night, this is the night. If it's not going to be tonight, George, it's never going to happen. Think of it that way.
Listen, I'll bet my Yankee money. I won on the Yankees today. I'll bet my Yankee money on this.
Okay, so then we're putting it in. All right, Jimmy Butler for 25 and Anthony Edwards for a total of 30 points. Okay.
30.
Yep.
Okay, hang on. I'll put it in. I'll put it in during the commercial break here.
That's it.
But okay, so Anthony Edwards for 30, Butler for 25.
Yep, that's it. Our two plays in the NBA tonight. We'll see if we can hit, and then maybe we'll parlay it in a college basketball system.
Don't let him peer pressure you, George. Don't let him peer pressure you, George. Don't do that, George.
George, it can't be anything worse.
Lisi won last week. He had me go for the Houston Cougars, so Lisi's 1-0.
And think about this. The kryptonite that's behind the scenes tonight in Matthias doesn't have a tennis pick. So we're already ahead of the chains, if you think about that. Okay?
Tennis it's coming down, Joe. That's why. Mueller's playing right now, Joe. Mueller's playing right now.
Yeah, that guy.
Mueller's in the semifinal, Joe.
He's going to win.
Playing right now. Down. He's down. He's getting smoked, Joe.
We might have to bet on him, George. When we come back from break, I got it all set up for us. A little NFL talk, a little Major League Baseball talk. Well, wet the palate. Coming right back on Carver and Lisi.
And now, for your listening pleasure, we give you SportsGrid summed up in one single symbolic sound effect. Get it? This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Moneyline at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1983, the NBA's San Diego Clippers began a 29-game losing streak. The franchise was founded as the Buffalo Braves in 1970 and moved to San Diego in 1978 and were rebranded the Clippers. In 1985, team owner Don Sterling moved the team up the freeway to LA. To this day, the Clippers have never won a conference title or NBA championship. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The early line.
What's your outlook for the Orioles this year after losing Corbin Burns in the offseason?
They just don't have enough pitching. They'll get some hitting. I like that lineup 1 through 9. It's fun. You'll be able to bet them. Camden Yards, the move of the fences back in a little bit in left field, so maybe more home runs there that you could take a look at as opposed to that travesty helping their pitching staff and ruining the crown jewel ballparks in America.
It's the early line with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Weekdays, 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. Fall is almost here. It's time to stow the lawnmower and get ready for all that glorious action coming your way. Stay tuned to SportsGrid for all the strategies, angles, and info you need to get the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The essence of a Friday night Carver and Lisi just oozes positivity. It oozes winning. I can feel we're going to win tonight, George. I just feel like everything is on our side. positivity oozing out of every cell in my body, Georgie boy. What are you studying over there? You're like deep in thought. What are you diving into? NFL numbers? Are you diving into NFL numbers right now?
Hockey,
What do you got?
okay, hockey news, Joe. Hockey's what I'll be betting on next.
Well, break it down.
No injuries.
What do we have?
Vancouver is going to be a little stuck tomorrow night. Elias Pettersson got hurt in practice today. They say he got hurt during the tournament, so I guess it's possible. But he left practice early. He's probably not playing tomorrow. Quinn Hughes, remember all the hoopla about him? He's not playing tomorrow either. All right, so I'll be big on Vegas. Vegas Golden Knights. I almost said Vancouver. Vegas Golden Knights to beat Vancouver tomorrow. So that's really what's going through my head right now is how much I want to put on the Vegas Golden Knights. Do I want to take them straight up? Do I want to put them in a parlay? A goal line, whatever it might be there. Sidney Crosby, by the way, also not likely to play tomorrow. It's more of a 50-50 thing. Remember, he was hurt before the tournament. This could happen with a lot of these players, by the way. So if you're betting NHL tomorrow, check lineup to see who's in it, who's out of it. Josh Morrissey, star defenseman for Winnipeg. He didn't play for Team Canada last night. He's a little sick. He's not playing tomorrow either. All right, so he's out. So keep that in mind. Hellebuck, he's fine. Team USA goaltender, but he's not going to start tomorrow. All right, Mike Conley will be in net for Winnipeg. So there's a lot of hockey news for tomorrow. Like I said, be very careful before you place your bets here. Make sure you read the news, who's starting, who's not. First game, I believe, is at 12:30 Eastern time tomorrow as we get the NHL back in full swing here. So that's what I was looking at there. There's just a ton of hockey news. Igor Shesterkin for the New York Rangers, by the way. Now, they play back-to-back games, Saturday and Sunday. Shesterkin's on the IL. He is expected to play one of these games. Shesterkin says he can play tomorrow. But I wanted the Rangers hold him. Since he's not going to play both anyway. So since he's only going to play one, I do want that the Rangers give him the extra day. And he plays Sunday against Pittsburgh rather than tomorrow. I forget who they're playing tomorrow. It's a better team tomorrow. I wonder if Shesterkin doesn't play until Sunday. But he looks like he is healthy and ready to go for the New York Rangers.
All right. We'll see what transpires over the next couple of games. Georgie breaking it down for us. All right. So we were going to talk about some NFL news. More and more, I want to say, rumors coming out about Matt Stafford potentially being able to, just shop around. Is it going to be the New York Giants? Let me ask you this. Outside of the Giants, do you see like Stafford going Raiders? Do you see him going, if he were to leave, do you see him going anywhere like the Titans or any one of these like garbage teams outside maybe a major media market like New York? And I'm not suggesting that the Giants are in contention this year, but if you're going to go to a mediocre rebuild type of team, the New York market is appealing because all eyes are on you, right? And if his wife is involved in the decision-making process, you would take New York over you would Vegas and anywhere else, no?
Stafford's 37 years old, so he's pretty much playing to win now. Giants can't win now. Doesn't matter who their quarterback is next year. All right, they're not winning now. All right, that offensive line is bad. Stafford will get killed. All right, I would take the under on 12.5 games played for him next year. You're in a division with Philadelphia, who's the best team in the NFL right now. Washington, an up-and-coming team that is right there. I think Washington, by the way, you have to make a move for Myles Garrett and get yourself a number 2 wide receiver. And boom, there we go. The Cowboys, all right, they're on a decline here, but they're still better than the Giants. You're the worst team in the division with or without Stafford. So I don't know if it makes any sense for Stafford to go there. Plus, what are the Giants going to do at number 3? That's not going to be in the Stafford trade, I don't think. Right? They're not trading the number 3 overall pick for Stafford. That would make no sense. So aren't they going to draft the quarterback? I mean, if Sanders or Cam Ward fall to there, I don't know if either one will. I imagine they're going 1-2. But if they were to fall there, Giants have to take that guy. They need a quarterback of the future, and they may not be in this position again because if Stafford does go to the Giants, well, they'll win 6-7 games because you're a top 10 pick, not a top 3. So nothing makes sense about Stafford going to the Giants other than what you brought up, the wife. And I think she would like to be in New York. But other than that, I don't know if it makes any sense for Stafford to go there. Other than you'll get a big contract for a couple of years. But I don't know how desperate the Giants are to do this because they have to know, well, no, we're still not going to be a playoff team with them. And what are we going to do in the draft? Does that mean we don't take the quarterback now? And if we do take a quarterback, well, then we just traded everything for Stafford and gave him a big contract. It doesn't add up to me.
No, I agree with the situation. We shall see what happens with Matt Stafford. We'll come back and we'll talk about some other players potentially on the move right here on Carver Lisi, only on the grid. Keep it where it is.
Congratulations. Another day above ground. Might as well make the most of it. Get the winning edge. Sports gaming strategies and information. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
Right before your very eyes, the boys of summer are about to become the champions of fall. MLB playoffs are coming. And SportsGrid will bring you all the angles, strategies, and info. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back. Me and George Kurtz holding it down. Carver and Lisi talking a little NFL action. Left off talking about Matt Stafford potentially on the move. Will he stay? Will he go? What does that mean for the LA Rams? And let's talk about some of the other teams in particular. We saw the Saints sign defensive coordinator Brandon Staley. This is crazy. And I understand the correlation and the relationship between Kellen Moore and Brandon Staley. I get that. But Brandon Staley's defenses in LA, George, was one of the worst in the NFL. The guy sucked. How are we signing this guy on when an aging defense, playmakers that are at the end of their career? I mean, are we expecting Brandon Staley to be that great of an addition with the New Orleans Saints in year one?
No. I'm not. I don't know if I'm going to blame Moore for going after Staley. Staley's a name. He once was, I guess, good. You said all that needs to be said about the Saints defense. I mean, there's not much else there. Saints are in a major rebuild. I don't care how bad this division is. You re-signed Kamara, which I didn't understand last year. I don't know why you go in that direction. Can Olave stay healthy? This just on the offense here. Your defense, as you said, it's old. You still got Cameron Jordan. Okay, fine. What else we got? What else we got on defense here? I mean, it's not Tyler Matho. There's not a lot to like here. It's a major rebuild, but we have to remember Moore was the last coach hired, so he was digging the bottom of the barrel here as far as assistant coaches, right? There's not much left. So you got to do what you got to do here. At least Staley can get you through. You can always worry about, I guess, somebody you may have wanted next year, right, on the next coaching cycle here as far as getting somebody new. So I'm not surprised he was hired. I don't think it'd be Staley's fault, by the way. I think the cupboard's bare. Unless they have a great draft and he's able to get some players in there and really coach them up real quick here, I don't think it matters much here. I think the Saints, I mean, I'm still going to have the Falcons better, Tampa Bay better. Carolina's an up-and-coming team, but the Saints might be the worst team in that division, and we still don't know what they're going to do with Derek Carr.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, if you're the Saints, do you take Derek Carr or do you keep him? It's a veteran quarterback. And then do you try and get somebody? The problem is, and this is like similar to like Brian Dable a couple of years ago, you're better off just stripping it down like Aaron Glenn is, right? Getting somebody in there, whether it be a new free agent like Justin Fields or somebody else to potentially fill the void. Start fresh. You do not want to start with a quarterback that potentially ran this team into the ground. The fan base hates Derek Carr. And at the end of the day, it's not like he's bringing you any closer to an NFC championship if you keep him. The worst thing that could happen is if you bring back Derek Carr, he wins or overexceeds expectations, and he's a one-hit wonder again, and then you're behind the eight ball in year number 2 with a second-year head coach.
I think what you said is key there. You got a new head coach. If I'm Kellen Moore, I pretty much want to strip it down. Right? 'Cause, you already said it. You're not going anywhere with Carr. Can he win you some games? Sure. Are you winning? That's about it. And he could screw you over here because he could make you a middling team, right, where you end up being 7-10. It sounds bad, but that's probably, a 10, 11 pick. It's not top 5. You need top picks here. In the NFL, I'm a pure believer in this, Joe. NFL, NBA, MLB, NHL. You either need to be competing for a trophy or you need to suck. You can't be in the middle. If you're in the middle year after year, you don't get those top picks, you'll never be anywhere but a middling team. Every now and then you might have a good year, but that's as far as you're going to go. So I think they should strip it down here. I think they should let Carr go. Eat it this year. This way you'll be in better salary cap space next year, whatever it might be. Maybe it's 2 years from now, and you go for that. What you see so many teams doing nowadays, where they're not afraid to eat, 26 million, 30 million, even 40 million of cap space. The cap's going up anyway, right? So you can afford to eat that there. That's what I would do if I'm New Orleans. I understand it's easier said than done because you have to sell that to the fan base that, hey, we're going to be awful for a couple of years. But in the in professional sports, the way the draft works here, in my opinion, that's what you have to do. You either need to be really, really bad or you need to be really, really good. The Saints right now are closer to really, really bad than really, really good, but they're not really, really bad. They're just bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. And their defense, which was what was the strong suit, started to give way last year. They're old, they're aging, they have banged up stars like DeMario Davis. When he was in his prime, he was a dominant player, but even he dealt with injuries last year. And when your offense doesn't help you out in any capacity, you said it, a middling team at the very best. So, again, can they compete with the right pieces in a couple of years? Yeah, because the division as a whole, nobody's running away with it, right? Tampa Bay's there, Atlanta, and you have an upstart Carolina team that maybe could get to 8 wins. Outside of that, you have an opportunity. What do we think about just big picture, right, in terms of the AFC? Are you buying back into Cincinnati right now if they sign Higgins and they sign Chase to big deals?
I mean, they're going to be a good team. We know they can put up points. But I'm curious. All right, they franchised T. Higgins. I assume that means they're going to keep him this year. Chase is going to get, $40 million a year? They screwed that up by not getting this contract done. They did it Dallas Cowboys, right? You waited too long. And now he's going to get top dollar here. Right? Maybe you could have saved a couple of million by signing him a year or two earlier. And then what are you going to do with Trey Hendrickson? All right? He's going to get big money as well. You can't – if Hendrickson goes, once again, what are you going to try to win every game, 42-39? These kind of team. Burrow's great. Chase is great. Higgins, when on the field, is great. Higgins gets hurt a lot. We know they can score points. Am I buying in? Playoff team, yes. Winning the division or going to the bowl? No, not with that. Not right now. Not on February 21st. Not before we draft for free agency. Let's see what they do here. I like the team. I think they will make the playoffs. But are they better than Baltimore? Probably not. Not at this point. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think their offense is still more consistent in a big spot than Baltimore, right? I mean, if we're talking about game on the line, and this is not a knock on Lamar Jackson, but let's just say, who would you want? 2 minutes, you got to score. I'm giving you the football. Are you taking Lamar? You taking Joe Burrow? Game on the line.
I mean, we're talking a playoff game. I'm taking Burrow. I mean, Lamar is a better Dak Prescott, right? They both come up pretty small in playoffs. I mean, Lamar should. He's not as bad as Prescott, but he hasn't gotten over that hump yet, Joe. Just hasn't gotten over that hump. So give me Burrow. He has done it. So I'll take it's regular season. It's probably Lamar. But in the playoffs, until Lamar does it, I mean, I know that's when we go bank everything on, right? What do you do from the playoffs? What do you do when the money's on the line? When the game's on the line? Got to go to the bowl, blah, blah, blah. Lamar's come up short. It may not always be his fault. I know Mark Andrews dropped the ball. All right, or maybe we're still playing that game here. But, until he gets over that hump, it's going to be Joe Burrow for me.
Do you think the Ravens, based off of where they are right now, right, price better than the Lions and Bills? I think the Bills should still be ahead of them. And I understand on paper, but you got to believe that the Bills are going to solidify the wide receiver position a little bit better, right? Depending upon what they do in free agency, depending upon what they do in the draft. They beat the Ravens. And I just feel like there's more pressure on the Ravens this year than there is in any of the past 3 seasons. Because think about it. They're now a slow regression. Number 1 team a couple of years ago in the AFC, lose to Kansas City in your house. You get back to the playoffs. You lose on the road to Buffalo. You're going the other way. And I understand it was a 2-point loss, but that pressure in year 3 is far removed now from the number 1 overall seed, right? So would you price Buffalo ahead of them or no? I would. I would have Buffalo right there with Kansas City at 7-1.
Actually, I would drop Kansas City down. I like Baltimore and Buffalo ahead of Kansas City, although I guess once again, there is the Mahomes factor. There's pressure on all 3 teams you mentioned, by the way. Detroit choked, right? Buffalo, we all know, hey, to our boy Carver, big Buffalo fan, they got no team that can't get over that hump, right? And get there, even though they probably should have been there. And there's pressure on Baltimore here. Would I have them priced over? Yes, I agree. Not much. We're sort of splitting hairs here. Not much, but I do agree with your point.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, right now, it's definitely Philadelphia for me. If you gave me a bet right now and I said this, I would make the bet to tie it up for 2 years for potentially a three-peat. I think they have just as good of a shot with that nucleus to potentially go back to the Super Bowl this year at 6-1 and in 2 years be there as long as Saquon and Jalen Hurts are healthy. We'll come back. We'll talk more NFL action right here on Carver and Lisi.
The way we see it, you have a choice. Depend on luck and be occasionally humiliated. Or use strategy and win. We suggest strategy. This is the SportsGrid Radio. Carver and Lisi.
Read all about it. Read all about it. JoJo Fonseca smash. He's too big to lose. Too big to fail. If I would have saw what this guy looked like, he was skinny, he was underweight, he couldn't handle the pressure, and he was in a pool of sweat, which meant that his nerves were getting the best of him.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel. But many took the ride multiple times. The goal? Not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. No way football is played in the fall and winter because the hits don't hurt as much when you're numb. Get the lowdown on
Back on Carver and Lisi, breaking down a little off-season NFL action. Talked a little bit about Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, little sprinkled in a little Josh Allen. Let me give some updates in the NBA, George, just see where we're at here. I don't think we're underway yet in our game, but Bucks all over the Wizards now, 75-67. Minus 8.5 the in-game number, minus 520 in favor of the Bucks. 218.5 is the in-game total, juice to the under, and minus 122. Grizzlies trail the Magic 70-57, minus 7.5 in favor of Orlando. 218.5 is the in-game total, minus 480 for the Magic, plus 330 for the Grizzlies. If you bet the Knicks, guess what? You're getting smashed. 100-70 right now. Game is basically over with 4 minutes left in the third. 26.5 the in-game number for the Cavs, minus 112 for Cleveland, minus 118 if you want to take the points with the Knicks. No money line, and 246 the in-game total. Heat up by 9 on the Raptors, 57-48. Minus 8.5 for the Heat, minus 520, 211.5. We're underway here in Dallas, George, so we got some life. We got Kyrie Irving right out of the gate, 1 assist. We need Zion for 20. He's got 4. And CJ, don't call me JoJo McCollum, has no 3s. So we're dead to rights there. And then our other games kick off or tip off in about an hour. So we have some life there. So we'll get that hopefully started. So let me ask you this. Outside the top 10 in the NFL, okay, the usual suspects, I'm talking deep shots, 23 after Washington, okay? We got the Texans at 28-1. This is for the Super Bowl. Chargers at 28-1. 32-1 for the Vikes. Rams at 32-1. Tampa Bay at 34-1. And then you can go to infinity. Dolphins 42, Bears 49. Is there anybody that you feel that would be worthy of a potential bet in the offseason? Like, I got to get this number. The only one I could think of right now would be Tampa Bay at 34-1. That would be the only one.
I'm smiling because that was the teams you mentioned. That was the one that hit me as well. I think it has to be an NFC team because the AFC. I mean, Buffalo, Baltimore, Kansas City. You want those Cincinnati in here? Too tough. Although Houston, maybe Stroud can get back to the player he was in year one. He wasn't as good last year. A lot of injuries to the wide receiving core. Not all his fault here. But Tampa Bay was the team that hit me as well. Right, you found something with Bucky Irving here. Baker Mayfield finally realizing his potential. You still got Mike Evans. We'll see what happens with Chris Godwin. Right, they backed up that deadline, I think, the day before free agency to make up their mind there on the bonus. So we'll see what they're going to do with him. They had a truckload of injuries on defense last year that definitely hurt the team. So a good offseason, make the right moves here. Listen, they're never going to be as good as Philly. They're not. They're probably not going to be as good as Detroit. But they beat Detroit in the past, by the way. They give Detroit fits. So Tampa Bay, the teams you mentioned, it's Tampa Bay. The Rams would be interesting as well. We talked about it, I think, last night, you and I, Joe. They were 2 plays away from beating Philadelphia, right, in the divisional round of the playoffs in that snowstorm there. But if Stafford's not going to be there, then you can just cross them off, right? They're done because they're not going to have a very good quarterback. That's why it makes no sense to me to trade Stafford. But the teams you mentioned, Tampa Bay, they're the team that I would like there.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I say that, you have a quarterback in Baker Mayfield that has quality playoff wins under his belt, right? You have a team that's won the division now 4 straight years. Defense could always get better. Young playmakers like Bucky Irving. You still have Mike Evans. You have some of those wide receivers like Jalen McMillan that stepped up. Cade Otton, a wide receiver that all he does is produce. So I like that price. Are you shocked? Now, let me ask you this. 32-1 for the Rams. Is that with the Stafford in or out? That's got to be with Stafford out, right?
I would think it's with him in, or hedging their bets a little bit. I mean, listen, they're not a great team. They're not a great team.
But George, they're not bad. I mean, they won the division.
Average.
But they won the division.
San Fran had a truckload of it. San Fran's still probably a better team. All right, but San Fran had all the injuries. McCaffrey got hurt. Brandon Ayuk got hurt. All the defensive injuries they had. I think San Fran's still a better team. So I think if Stafford was there instead of 32, it might be 24. So like I said, I think they're without Stafford, assuming it's some, forget about it, it'd be 45, 50. They'd have no shot. All right, they're not. They'd have no chance in hell. So I think it's sort of in between hedging their bets there. They don't want to go heavy one way or the other.
Okay, here's another one. Dolphins, 42-1, okay? They don't make the playoffs this year. He has to be gone. At what point do you cut ties with McDaniel? He has to be one of the coaches on the hot seat. They don't get a fast start this year. And Tyreek is healthy, and Waddle is healthy, and Tua is there. If your defense and your team can't win big games, at what point is enough enough?
Oh, he's definitely on the hot seat. Maybe the number one coach on the hot seat, right? I think he'll make it through the season, But if they don't make the playoffs, he's done.
5, he could be gone.
They start 0-5, he's gone. We don't know the schedule when their bye week is going to be, right? But if argument, they start 0-5 and their bye week's in week 6. Bye, Mike. Nice knowing you. Right, that's when they'll move on here. I don't think they'll start 0-5, mind you. But listen, they're in a tough spot. You got Buffalo in the division. We know the conference is the conference from hell here. We'll see what the Jets are going to be. New England's still they're rebuilding, so they're sort of in a good spot, right? Because theoretically, you're better than New England, and you should be better than the Jets because we don't know what the Jets are going to do at quarterback here, right? And Aaron Glenn does seem to be stripping it down somewhat. So you're in a good spot, but you got to do it, right? You got to do it. And once Tua came back, Joe. Man, all they were doing is short, quick little passes. They did not want him to get hit, and you cannot win in the NFL. That's all. If you're not willing to have him use the whole playbook because you're afraid of him getting hit, then you got to move on. All right, the injuries, it's ended him. If that's truly what's going on here.
Yeah, I agree. Here's the other one that I think has some value. Jacksonville at 60-1. And the only reason why I say that is because I believe Cohen will be a good fit. I like the quarterback. I like the skilled players. Defense steps up a little, 60-1 in a winnable division. To never say never. We'll come back. We'll wrap up hour 1 right here on the grid.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steelman Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
Football Full Circle.
If you make a bet based off a new coordinator early on, you're potentially setting yourself up for either disaster or losing money. Look at what Vic Fangio did after game number 4. People wanted to run him out of town after Kirk Cousins gets that game-winning drive. From that point on, best defense in the NFL.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. It's a harsh world out there. Get the SportsGrid mobile app and take all that sweet, sweet winning edge with you.
Download today.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Get sports gaming strategies and information 24 hours a day.
7 days a week.
Everything you need to get the winning edge. Right here. All the time. No wonder the wife says you never listen to her. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
We're back right here on the grid. Carver and Lisi. Carver out on assignment, but George and I are having a deep conversation about the upcoming NFL futures market, which is pretty interesting if you think about it, because you have Jacksonville that I just left off in, and they're in a similar type of situation, I feel, like Tampa Bay. Winnable division, first-year head coach that has had great success, obviously, with the Buccaneers in every place he's been. You have a quarterback that's hot and cold in Trevor Lawrence, two young running backs potentially in ETN and Tank Bigsby. You have Brian Thomas Jr. that could be a breakout star, a 1,000-yard wide receiver, potentially the best rookie receiver that we saw last year, George, right? And if Kirk comes back from injury, you sprinkle in, I mean, you saw some of the others, Parker Washington stepping up, Evan Ingram when he's in there. I mean, the nucleus is there for them to challenge offensively with any team within the South.
Oh, agreed. You'll get no argument from me there. I think you could be onto something. Now, I do expect Kirk to be a cap casualty. I think he's done there. I think he would have been traded if he didn't get hurt, by the way.
Where would he go? Where's a good fit for Kirk if he's not there?
I think, I mean, you talk about a deep threat, right? Guys who can clear out the safeties. So a top receiver can work the underneath. I mean, there are a ton. I mean, listen, Cowboys could use him first off. You know, they don't have a second receiver as it is, more than someone like him. So I think he would make sense. He's sort of like Brandon Cooks. You know, maybe not as good as Cooks, but sort of like Brandon Cooks in his heyday.
Cooks is a little bit
clear
bigger.
Everybody out.
Cooks is a little bit bigger. Kirk breaks down. He's a little bit injury prone because of the body size. Are you going to go from Jacksonville to a cold weather environment? He played at A&M. Maybe. I mean, is he a good fit? I mean, would he go to Houston with the injury? I know it's in division, but Tank Dell's injury, same type of player as Tank Dell. I'm just thinking, L.A.? Would he go to L.A. with Herbert? Well, might not be bad. Lad McConkey.
I kind of like that. I kind of like L.A. Actually, either L.A. team. Remember, no cup either. Right. Assuming they move on from him. The Giants, I think, might be in play here. They don't have anybody outside of Neighbors. Hell, New England needs anybody they can get. All right, so that could be an interesting one as well. Washington needs a number two. I don't like him as a pure number two. I like him as an addition. Like I said, someone who that clear out the safeties guy because he's running fly patterns all day long or posts here. I'm looking at other teams here. Would he go to
Atlanta? Would he go to Atlanta?
Would Atlanta make that move? I know they could use a third, but they already have two. I mean, you got London, you got Mooney. Do they really need to spend on a third? Don't they have other? They got to fix that offensive line a little bit, and they need a pass rusher.
Is this Mooney legit though? Is this Mooney like a one-hit wonder? I mean, the That's guy fair. Never did That's it in fair. Chicago. I'm just saying.
Indianapolis.
Indianapolis
could be an option here.
Not bad there. I mean.
No.
Saints would be. I mean, Jets. Saints need help too. Saints. I mean, if they got a core, I mean, he could go to.
You got Olavi and Shaheed. You have other problems. The bottom line is there are options. There are definitely. He'll have a job. Right? He'll have a job with somebody there, and he, like I said, he can't be a number one. He's not a number one. Like I said, he's a quasi 2-3 in my mind. I think he'd be great on a team that's stacked to be that third guy. You know. If he's going to be the number two, then the number one needs to be a true number one. Like I said, CeeDee Lamb with him at 2, that could work in Dallas, especially playing a lot of games on turf where it's a little faster here. So I can see that working here. And I'm not a big Christian Kirk guy, by the way, but I think a team like Dallas would make some sense.
Yeah. I mean, granted, when you're looking at off-season moves, that's what you want, right? You want that cherry on top for the receiver perspective, something that can add to productivity. You know, I agree with you. Body size, breaking down. He's a great addition. Counting on Christian Kirk from the start of the year to the end to be that guy to just bring you over the hump could be a long day, right? A long season because of how he breaks down. Nagging injuries, gets hurt. Body type he's not very muscular, so he breaks down. One tough tackle, he could break a collarbone. So we'll see. Are you shocked about the number for Green Bay? 21-1. Significantly higher than where we see Minnesota. Minnesota going to go with J.J. McCarthy, or they bring back Sam Darnold, in your opinion?
That's the question of the offseason, right? What happens here?
And is that number significant of Darnold, or is that a J.J. McCarthy number? I think that's a Darnold number.
I think that's a Darnold number as well. But I think if I'm Minnesota, they have to answer their own question. Is McCarthy ready to play? If he's ready to play, it's McCarthy. If not, I franchised. I'm not getting a long term. I franchise Darnold and then give McCarthy another year.
We'll come back. We'll talk more NBA, Major League Baseball up on Carver Lisi.
Even if the last thing you played was the radio, you can still be a sports gaming legend. Just keep that radio tuned to us.
Get the winning edge.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1983, the NBA's San Diego Clippers began a 29-game losing streak. The franchise was founded as the Buffalo Braves in 1970 and moved to San Diego in 1978 and were rebranded the Clippers. In 1985, team owner Don Sterling moved the team up the freeway to LA. To this day, the Clippers have never won a conference title or NBA championship. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
You're listening to where real winners go for actionable insights and expert perspectives on daily sporting events.
7 days a week.
It's not a secret or anything.
I mean, we have a promotion budget for Pete's sake.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Carver Lisi, baby. SportsGrid Radio, Friday night. Lisi driving this plane. We don't know where we're going. It's Friday night and we're having fun. Me and Georgie Boy Kurtz breaking down some NFL. I said we're going to sprinkle in some maybe NBA, but definitely Major League Baseball with the season on the cusp. Now, do we have real games hitting up in March, George? We have about 2 weeks away, right? Before the season actually starts. When are we starting, actually? Tell me. When are we starting?
Depends on how you look at it. The Japan series between the Cubs and the Dodgers starts March 18th and 19th.
Okay.
Oh, you're
right.
right. It's just 2 games. It's 2 games. The regular season starts March 27th. So you still have, 34 days before true opening day.
Now, let me ask you, because I never did this with betting the baseball this early. When the 2 games go off, do they lock the whole market or keep it open?
Oh, it's regular. I mean, it's 6 a.m. in the morning. I mean, so God bless you getting up. I don't even know if I'll get up for it. To tell you the truth, I might record the game and then watch it later on when I do decide to wake up. But yeah, I mean, it's a regular season game. All right, game 1's going to be Yamamoto versus Imanaja. And I think game 2 is Steele versus Sasaki. So I'm curious about it. I am, because I do want to see Sasaki pitch, of course. I just don't know. I don't know what days they're on. Days of the week they're on. What is it? 19th, Monday, Tuesday, maybe 20. I don't know. Tuesday. I think it's a Tuesday, Wednesday offhand. So we'll see if I can somehow manage to get up at 6 a.m. But I do want to see these guys pitch. I do. But like I said, it is what it is. It's early. Dodgers, what are they, up to 104.5 on their total wins this year? It's a little crazy. Only got to 98 last year. We thought they had a great team last year as well. But then again, last year that everybody and their mother got hurt from the Dodgers.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, here's the thing. If we both like the Reds, you know how I feel about them. Is there anybody outside of the Yankees, the Dodgers? I know everybody seems to like San Diego every year. Is there one team that could come out of nowhere? Could it be Detroit? Is somebody that, I like Texas. I told you, Texas with 27, 28 to 1, I think has good value. But anybody long shot that maybe could surprise? You keep telling me Seattle.
See, everybody says Seattle, and I understand it because their pitching staff's fantastic. All right, I mean they have 5 starting pitchers that are just really, really from great to really, really, really good. So it's a great pitching staff. The problem is they can't hit, and they didn't add anything. I mean, Julio Rodriguez, pretty much you could ignore him till July. He starts hitting in July. And they needed to add. They needed I thought they needed 2 at bats last year, and they need two batters again, two hitters, and they didn't add it. You can't try and win every game 3-2. This is why they're always on the cusp of making the playoffs, but they don't quite get there because they just don't have those bats to put them over the top here. I like your pick of Texas. I think I told you that last week as well. I think that's a great pick there. Seattle, by the way, if Seattle ever does get into the playoffs, they're dangerous because once again, pitching generally wins in the playoffs. You talk about 3-2 games here, 2-1, and they can win those games here. So another team, I mean, Detroit, Kansas City, Minnesota, Cleveland, the American League Central teams, they're all decent squads. All right, could one step up? I mean, I would probably look at Kansas City, but for them, the pitching's not there. For Detroit, the hitting's not quite there, but the pitching might be. They have a couple of young pitchers, Joe. So if you're looking for a surprise team, if those young pitchers hit and they're Paul Skeens right off the bat, okay, you may have something in Detroit. The National League team I look at is the Arizona Diamondbacks. You had Corbin Burns. I know you lost Christian Walker, but you had Josh Naylor. He's pretty much the same as Walker, close enough there. Ketel Marte might have won the MVP last year, if not for Shohei Ohtani and everything he did. So I like what Arizona's done. And they have some extra pitching, by the way. The owners all mad at Jordan Montgomery. They wanted to get rid of him, and Jordan said, no, I got a no trade clause. I ain't going nowhere. And he was terrible last year. So, but that gives them an extra pitcher that they can move at some point during the season for whatever they need. You need another outfielder, you need an infielder, you need bullpen help, whatever it might be. So Arizona would be that team in the National League. Other than that, there's nobody in the Central I really love to come in. I mean, I like the Reds as more as a playoff team, not to do any damage in the playoffs. We all know about the Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets. All right, there's no surprise there. So the National League is really, there's 6 playoff spots, and it seems to be 7 teams, maybe 8, battling for those 6. The American League has more options. There's probably only of the 15 teams in the American League, there's probably only 5 that I would say have no chance in hell.
Yeah, it's interesting. What about the Twins? Because the Twins were there. Do they have enough to get back? And do they have enough pitching to actually make a run? Could they be like Detroit was last year, where Detroit, everybody sold them, and all of a sudden Detroit overexceeded expectations in the playoffs? Can the Twins be that team this year?
The problem for the Twins is this is I guess we'll call them a good team, but they're not a great team, and they're not going to be a great team. I mean, you're pitching. Pablo Lopez is really good. Ryan, Ober, Pat. I mean, you're getting worse and worse here as we go down here. Simeon Woods Richardson. You just don't have enough. All right, and your offense is good, but not great. All right, so listen, Royce Lewis, the third baseman. They have 2 Byron Buxtons. They have Byron Buxton, and Royce Lewis is Byron Buxton. Great when he plays, but the one ability he doesn't have is availability. He's hurt a lot. This takes a lot out of the team here. Carlos Correa is not quite the hitter they were hoping for here, and he's hurt a lot as well. I think you can make an argument with the Twins that Detroit, Kansas City, I think, is definitely past Minnesota. I think Detroit may be on their way to passing Minnesota, and Cleveland, might be in the middle of both. Cleveland had a lot of losses this year. As far as Jimenez, and I think Juan is gone as well. So tough losses to make up for, but they have the great pitching. Naylor's gone too. Hitting could be an issue for Cleveland. I think, once again, Kansas City and Detroit seem to be the 2 teams here that are going to be taking over this division, if not this year, then in the very near future.
Yeah, totally agree. You're the expert when it comes to this, and I could just tell you I've watched a little, and some of the teams that caught my eye seem to have pretty good value. Are we buying anybody under over 40 to 1? Like, are the Royals at 40 to 1 any value? Milwaukee, I feel like Milwaukee missed their window. I feel like Milwaukee was like, a hot team 2 or 3 years ago when they had the younger talent. Now I feel like that time has come and gone, and they never ran away with the division. They were always struggling in the regular season just to get to the playoffs.
I mean, what you said is correct. I mean, Milwaukee, they've had some magical years. Could they win the division? Sure. The Cubs are the favorite there, and I can certainly understand why, and I do expect them to win it. You traded Williams, right? Woodruff now not going to start the season with the team, right? You lost Burns before last season. That's a lot to overcome here, all right? Because even if it's can you count on Woodruff to be a number one, which he was a quasi number one before the injury here, coming back from the shoulder? We'll see, but I have my doubts here. Peralta's more of a number two. And then after that, it's hopes and prayers. Yelich is going to have that microfracture back surgery, whatever that is. It looks like he might be ready for opening day. He might not be, but he's going to be a guy you're going to have to watch. He's not going to be that superstar anymore. His ground ball to fly ball ratio was already heading in the wrong direction here. And I just don't think he's going to be able to play more than 120 games, 130. And he's just not that guy anymore here. So I think Milwaukee's going to be it's finally going to be the team, Joe, that we expected the last couple of years where, they're okay, but nothing special here. And I don't think they'll win that division. I don't think they'll make the playoffs either.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, again, Cardinals too are another team. Just from the prestige and the tradition, you say, St. Louis got to be 130-1, George. I mean, 130-1. No shot since Pujols left. You got no shot. They're like dead and buried ever since, what's his face? Help me out. I keep thinking of Tommy Lasorda, not Lasorda. The other Italian manager, what's his name? La Russa. There you go. La Russa, ever since he left it, he got no shot anymore. How come?
Yeah, and they're pretty much rebuilding this year. They got no shot this year either. They'll be trading away more players by the deadline.
Whiskey sour. We'll come back with more NBA.
Ever heard the saying, if you want a friend, get a dog? Think of us as a trusted companion that fetches odds, gaming info, and more. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Money Line.
Yeah, come on. Where's tradition at? Aren't the Yankees supposed to be one of the most traditional franchises around? So, okay, if we're not about tradition anymore, how about doing away with one of the dumbest traditions of all time, which is the Yankees? Put the name on the back of your jersey at home. Hey, look, beards, mustaches, goatees, long hair, and put the name on the back of the jersey at home. How about that, New York? Is that good for tradition for you as well?
Catch Money Line with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Know someone with a drinking or drug problem? Learn how to get sober after we share these stories.
I was 35 with 2 beautiful children when my life and addiction started to spiral out of control. After my divorce, I went into a depression cycle and started drinking more often and using prescription drugs. After my second DWI and arrest, my ex-husband threatened to take our children away from me.
I was 17 when I became addicted to heroin and meth. I thought I could quit on my own, but I couldn't. It hit me when I was arrested.
Get sober now. Your private insurance may cover costs and we'll get you here. It's simple. Just call Elite Rehab Placement right now. Please don't wait. Your life matters to us.
800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. 800-959-6348. Call right now before it's too late. That's 800-959-6348.
You're listening to SportsGrid, raising the bar on your sports gaming by giving you rock-solid strategies, news, and information.
We are your unfair advantage.
Isn't it time you made more trips to the bank between paydays? This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Beautiful, majestic interlude to start the show here Hit Burbell, Matthias Burbell on the turntables tonight on Friday night. We used to have Disco Fridays. He killed that with the copyrights. Now we just have to go. We don't even have any type of disco music. Can't even get down on Friday night. So let's just say exactly what we have here. Georgie boy, talk to me. You ready? You ready?
I'm ready.
I got Zion with 10. He's halfway there. Kyrie, 1 assist. This guy hit the skids tonight. And CJ McCallum, dead to rights with no threes. Don't worry, though. We have it backed up. George and I, the Carver and Lisi. The Lisi and Kurtz special Friday night parlay. Anthony Edwards, 30+, and Jimmy Butler, 25+, pays $436 on Friday night. So we're involved in that on the parlay. Hopefully we can get it home. Talking a little Major League Baseball. Let me just see if there's anything from the NBA, George, that can maybe get us involved. Do I have a free bet tonight? No bet. I only had profit boosts. I hate that. That stinks. But anything of New York Knickerbockers getting smashed. 132-98, George. 132-98. Unbelievable. Miami Heat now on life support, 78-77, 223 they lead in the third quarter, minus 225 on the money line. Detroit and Cade Cunningham tied with the Wemby-less San Antonio Spurs. Wemby out for the year. That's what we got. And then the Mavericks up 37-28. We got the T-Wolves catching 4 on the road against the Rockets. That's a 940 tip. And then OKC, 940, minus 15.5 on the road against the Jazz. Golden State laying 2 against the Kings. And that's all we got later tonight. 237 is the total, Golden State and San Antonio. So we'll see how that plays out. George and I talking Major League Baseball. We sprinkled in the hockey. Anything else you want to talk about, George? What do you want to talk about? I know we're a little light with respect to the games tonight. NFL has been doing good. Any free agent draft, any free agent that you'd like to see the Cowboys sign? They just signed, Carl Lawson? I saw this. That's really going to bring you over the top. How old is Carl Lawson? About, Shaq Lawson or Carl Lawson? Which one?
Carl. Listen, when you talk about the Cowboys, it's all about, all right, they're not going to trade Micah, right? They're not going to do that.
Let me ask you a question. Hang on. You're a Dallas fan, and I'm not suggesting that Micah isn't a good player. However, have you seen Micah dominate a game like Myles Garrett? A game that matters? I mean, when they talk about Micah Parsons being like this dominant, is he like LT? Or am I watching different football? I never see him take a game over when it matters. Or is that just me, bashing him?
You're bashing him, sure, but you're not all wrong, all right? If that makes any sense. He's not Myles Garrett. He's not no one's LT, all right? He's right. Not. LT was you and I were old enough to remember watching LT. He was a terror, an absolute terror, right? Boy, we saw him on the opposite side of your line. That could not have been pleasant. All right, in the Dick Butkus mode, right? He was coming after. He wanted to hurt you, and he wanted to, he wanted to win the ball game, and he was going to do it. It's a different kind of player here. Micah can turn the ball game because you do have to focus on him. But one of the reasons why he's not Myles and he's not LT is he's not built that way, right? If you double team him, he relies on speed, not strength. All right, so if you double team him, you can stop him. If you're going 1-on-1, that's kind of alien. He's too fast. If you double team, you can stop it. Where Myles Garrett, LT, guys of that ilk, Reggie White, you could double team, it may not matter. All right, he's still coming. So that's the only difference there. But like I said, for the Cowboys, are we going to wait until last minute again to sign Micah and then give him the biggest contract ever? That's what Jerry does. What did Jerry tell us a month ago? No one can do this job like I do it. No one can give out these contracts. Well, I guess no one can give out the contracts. You own the team, so you're right there. But you're a horrific general manager. And that's actually hurt. You wait forever. Every time with these guys, then you give them top dollar. You did it with Zeke. You did it with Dak. You did it with CD because you're unwilling to give these guys a contract before their current contract is up here. And Micah wants it done earlier. I think Micah would take now when I say team-friendly, he'll take a more team-friendly deal. He's not thinking, he's going to get $35 million a year, but maybe 35 instead of 38, 39. But I think he'd be willing to do that if you get it done early. If you wait, he's going to want every last freaking dollar. And that's the mistake that one of the mistakes, not the only mistake, one of the many mistakes that Jerry Jones makes.
Yes, you're right. So do you think with a new coach, do you think the weakness is still the defense, or do you feel like the offense, with major question marks to Dak coming back from injury, not knowing obviously what the offensive line is, the lack of dominant rushing attack ever since Tony Pollard and Zeke aren't there, you have no identity from an offensive perspective. If Dak is healthy, yes, you have the ability to potentially put up points, but are you more concerned about the defense, or are you more concerned about the offense heading into the season?
Can I say both? I think the answer is actually both here. You can make an argument. Dallas, when they draft, it's actually very easy. BPA. Best player available because you need help everywhere. All right, listen. The Cowboys aren't going to win with Dak. I already know that, but that's not what we're talking about here. You need offensive line help. You need a running back. You need a second wide receiver outside of CD. You need run stoppers at defensive tackle. You need another pass rusher other than Micah. You need help at linebacker. The secondary is actually in pretty good shape, but Diggs has gotten hurt a couple of times here. We'll see what you got in the second cornerback, but I said it's BPA. You need help all over the place for the Cowboys. That's why at 12, I would love to see McMillan full at 12. Probably not going to happen. I love Gentry, but I think this is this draft has a lot of depth at running back. I'm probably not taking Gentry at 12. You can get a decent running back in the second or third round here, and then you take once again BPA at 12, whatever position that happens to be at.
We'll see. 55-1, the Dallas Cowboys to win the Super Bowl. I tell you, the lottery ticket, George, and we'll come back with more NFL.
SportsGrid is your source for sports gaming strategies and information 24/7.
We're always here,
waiting on you to decide to win. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X, and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1983, the NBA's San Diego Clippers began a 29-game losing streak. The franchise was founded as the Buffalo Braves in 1970 and moved to San Diego in 1978 and were rebranded the Clippers. In 1985, team owner Don Sterling moved the team up the freeway to LA. To this day, the Clippers have never won a conference title or NBA championship. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
Football Full Circle.
How were the meatballs in New Orleans, by the way?
Joe's Bistro, we ate there every day. I ate the meatballs every day. They were fantastic. DRS looked like he was going to the chair for his last meal. I mean, every day. I never saw it 3 seconds flat. He didn't even let him marinate in his mouth. Guy's going to the chair, it looked like.
It's Football Full Circle with Ben Stevens and Joe Lisi. Weekdays, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. When you're a SportsGrid listener,
You have an advantage.
we bring you sports gaming strategies and information 24/7. We call it the winning edge. Everybody else calls it Stop messing around. It's the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
Joey Giggles on the turnstile. Joey Giggles live on the PM dial, Sports Grid Radio. Lisi and Kurtz tonight, and sometimes Carver, since he's out on hiatus. How does that sound, huh? I hope you're listening from the Poconos. Lisi, Kurtz, and sometimes Carver. All right? Put it with the golf, baby. Emiliano Grillo went right down into the sand dune today. He's 4 under. He's 12 shots back. I can't even pronounce the guy in first. Doesn't matter. We got no shot. So don't worry, George. Whatever we lost in the first game, we're going to get it back. Anthony Edwards and Jimmy Butler, it's a sure thing. Gamble at your own risk. But I feel really good about it, George. I really do. I think this is me and you bonding for the first time in like maybe all of 2025. You and I haven't worked together on a Friday night. I feel like this special kinship with you.
Oh, is that what it is? It's a special kinship. All right. We'll see how that kinship is in about, 3 hours here when those bets will end here. We'll see if we won or lost here. You may be getting an angry phone call from me or a text or a virus to your computer, depending on how things work out here.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I do enjoy the NFL talk because, again, you could pick off some good numbers. Just, I remember when Justin Fields got signed by the Steelers. They were like 45-1 prior to the signing. And as soon as he signed, I think I hit the number at like 36 or I forgot what it was, like 38-1. And then obviously throughout the offseason, they dwindled down. Even with Russ at the helm, they were like 20-1 at the start of the year. And obviously significantly lower in the middle part of the year when they went on that heater. So this is where you can maybe pick off a potential team or two. Is there anybody that you and I can maybe dive into? Anybody you want to take a shot? Just signing-wise? Let me ask you this. Is there no doubt you believe Myles Garrett on the Browns? And the reason why I say that is if you believe it's 50-50, okay, that, he stays or goes, one of these teams that maybe, if we think about it, Washington, maybe, I'll just throw out the Rams or whoever maybe needs the help, right, won't be there anymore. Meaning if they're 28-1 or 30-1 and they get Myles Garrett, well, then all of a sudden you're talking about now 10-1, 12-1. So does it pay to potentially hit the number on maybe Washington that's at 24-1, knowing that there might be a play prior to the draft where maybe Myles Garrett is on the move?
I think the team to watch, for me, it's you already said the team, the Commanders. All right, I mentioned earlier in the show, that's who I think should make the move for Myles Garrett if Cleveland's willing to move on here, which is a huge if, by the way, because I think Cleveland's going to present Garrett with a massive contract extension, $40 million a year, 150 guaranteed. So
he wants to.
That's the question. That's the thing. Garrett knows he's going to get paid by anybody. He knows that. So will he be willing to sign that? If he won't sign it with Cleveland, then they sort of have no choice. You have to move on. All right, you'll get.
Yeah, no, my point is, what about Green Bay? Are they, and I know it's not a Green Bay move.
To do it. I don't think they would be hurt. Washington is the perfect fit. It's an up-and-coming team. You're going to be drafting in the 20s from here until, forever anyway, because you're always going to make the playoffs. So 2 number ones isn't that much to give up for Myles Garrett. He's the player you need to go chase Jalen Hurts, all right, to go after him, to go after Jared Goff, to go after, Love. And all these big quarterbacks, it just makes too much. And they have, what do they have, $93 million in cap room, whatever it might be? They have the room here. So, like I said, if I'm Washington, would you rather have your number one pick, what is it this year, 24, somewhere around there? Next year might be a little higher, 26, or Myles Garrett? I'd rather have Myles Garrett, that guy who I know I know he's an ace. So I think they're a team that makes perfect sense. Plus, if you're Cleveland, you're getting the hell out of the AFC. Right? He's going to the NFC. So you're only going to see him once every 4 years, whatever it might be. So if Cleveland is absolutely going to trade him, which is a huge if, by the way. You said 50-50. That's probably about right. Then I think, once again, Washington is that team, in my mind, that has to step up and go get him.
Right. So the downside is, like, if you're Cleveland, okay, we'll give him money. But if he's not bought in, then you're not getting that investment. Right? Meaning, like, if he's lollygagging and walking through the motions, he ain't worth the 60 or whatever money you're going to throw at him. You're not getting that return for a player that's checked out. So that's the downside to potentially playing that, giving them the money, right? So you're better off picking off some of this value with Washington or some of the others. We'll come back. We'll talk more NFL and NBA coming right back.
Loser is kind of a mean-spirited slur, but it doesn't have to stick. Tell them to listen to SportsGrid and fix it.
No, thank you.
Later. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Carver and Lisi.
Read all about it. Read all about it. JoJo Fonseca smash. He's too big to lose. Too big to fail. If I would have saw what this guy looked like, he was skinny, he was underweight, he couldn't handle the pressure, and he was in a pool of sweat, which meant that his nerves were getting the best of him.
It's Carver and Lisi with Mike Carver and Joe Lisi. Weekdays 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific on the SportsGrid Radio Network. The new SportsGrid app is now available on iOS and the App Store. Experience the ultimate sports betting companion that provides personalized content from your favorite hosts. In-depth matchup previews, game and prop picks, live odds, stats, scores, and more. All in one place. And of course, on the SportsGrid app, you can tune into our live television and radio coverage anytime. On the go, wherever you are. Download the SportsGrid app on the iOS App Store now. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
If you've turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. 800-365-6303. That's 800-365-6303.
There's something you should know and always remember. SportsGrid does not increase luck. We're your unfair advantage for the latest sports gaming information. If you're looking for luck, go find a horseshoe. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
All right, brother. No problem. Be good. JP, love you. All right. Oh, yeah. We are rocking and rolling. I'm Carver and Lisi. Lisi and Kurtz and sometimes Carver. Nothing better. On a Friday night, I
know
it.
what Carver's thinking right now, by the way. He's going, this bastard hasn't worked a Tuesday in like 6 months, and he's making fun of me for taking 2 days off. You know what? I guarantee you what he's thinking right now in, Great Wolf and Penn.
And wait until next week when I take Wednesdays off. When I take Wednesdays off, I'm doing college hoops on the grid now, George. Studio show, Saturday mornings. I don't know. They want the human algo involved. I said, sure, why not? The human algo will get involved every Saturday morning, 10 to 12, starting on March 1st. So you could see yours truly. Prime time. How about that? Breaking down analytics on college hoops. Let's break down some analytics. And what do you want to do? You want to do baseball or football? You tell me. I'll leave it up to you for the next half hour. You like the football talk?
Let's go football, right? Everybody loves football. Football has no off season, right? There's no off season in the NFL.
So if I had to give you odds on Aaron Rodgers, which I'm assuming we could get at one of these crazy markets, where do you feel the front runner is for Aaron Rodgers? Do you feel it's Pittsburgh, like many have already said that Rodgers is a shoo-in, although we're getting those rumblings about Daniel Jones, which, I said this. Steelers get Daniel Jones last year. I'll bet it right now for Mike Tomlin as a head coach in the Steel Curtain. There's no shot they're going anywhere with Danny Dimes, number one. Number two, Aaron Rodgers, would he respect Tomlin? He would respect Tomlin a hell of a lot more than he did Salah and Ulbrich. I'll say that. Or will he go out west to potentially the Rams if they move on from Stafford, or the curveball? The Niners don't re-sign Purdy and go with either Darnold as or Rodgers as a backup.
All right. Now, he's only going to go to a team that can win. All right. So you look at the teams that need a quarterback. Cleveland, I think, is drafting a quarterback. Pittsburgh, it makes sense if Tomlin wants to deal with the circus. Do you want Aaron Rodgers brings a circus with him, right? I mean, you gotta love him last year. Mandatory minicamp? Nah, I got plans on to go to Tibet for vacation, or maybe went to his his hut to go on a darkness retreat, whatever it was. And he didn't show up. So, wow. So do you want to deal with the circus and everything else going on the Pat McAfee show? All right, then do you want to deal with this? But then again, they are a team that wins, but I don't know if they're going to get past Cincinnati and Baltimore with or without Rodgers. I don't see that happening. Even if New Orleans moves on from Derek Carr, he's not. I don't see him going to New Orleans there. He's not going across the Meadowlands to the Giants. All right, that's not going to happen there. I mean, when you look at the Rams, if they move on from Stafford, make the most sense for me because they made the playoffs last year. Right? It's a division that can be won again. Maybe not, but a division that can be won there. They have a receiver in the coup that he can find. It has a good running game. All right, so I think that does make sense. I'm looking at other teams that could use a quarterback. The Raiders, I don't see that happening. Why would you want to go to that division and deal with all, that's pure hell. All right, so I don't think it's going there. Indianapolis, no, that's not, no matter what they think about Richardson here. Tennessee, drafting a quarterback. So I think it's those two teams. I don't think he's going to San Fran. All right, San Fran's signing Purdy. All right, San Fran's not going to move on.
You think so?
I don't see that. Why would?
Let's have that conversation. Okay, you're signing Purdy. Are you okay? I'm happy you brought this up. You think they're going to sign him? Do you think he's worth 65 or whatever the going rate is? Okay, 62, 65, more than Burrow, more than Hurts that's won a Super Bowl, more than 3-time Super Bowl champion Pat Mahomes, more than Josh Allen. What does Brock Purdy bring your offense? He's not multidimensional. He can run a little bit, but he's certainly not Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, or Josh Allen. So what is it that you're signing him for a $65 million price tag that potentially you can't get with a bridge gap quarterback or somebody that's on the cheap?
Well, those are two different questions. Is he worth it? No, he's definitely not. Neither was Dak Prescott. Neither was a lot of these quarterbacks who get paid. They're not worth it, but it's just the way things work in the NFL. The next guy who's good enough is going to get paid the most. It's just the way it is. The salary cap went up also. So, yeah, he's going to get, I think it'll be 60, not 65. But he's and I wonder if he'll come in a little under that anyway, if it'd be more like 55 to 58, which once again, it sounds like a lot. We're just splitting hairs here as far as money for a quarterback goes here. But is he worth it? No. But if you're San Fran, you're good enough to win now. What are you going to do? McCaffrey's not going to be around forever. He gets hurt every year anyway. You want to win now. You can't bring in another quarterback. A bridge quarterback. I mean, listen.
Well, let me ask you. Let me throw out two scenarios. You don't sign Darnold. You bring Purdy. You bring back Darnold for $35 million. You get him for $30 million cheaper. He understands your scheme, and you're telling me the team can't be just as competitive as they were. I don't know if they'll win a playoff game because we saw what Darnold brought to the table, but there's no guarantee that Brock Purdy's going to bring you over the hump either.
He came pretty close, right? Pretty close. You can make an argument. It wasn't his fault they lost that game, so he's already proven he can do it. That's the other issue there. Purdy is not as good as any of the top quarterbacks. You mentioned Burrow, Hurts, Jackson. Allen. He's not in that tier. He's not. He's the next tier down. He's better than average, but he's not great. And I don't know if he'll ever be great, by the way. I don't think so. But if you're San Fran, I mean, even if you want to go with Rodgers, okay, what are you going to do in a year from now? And once again, do you want to deal with the circus? Same thing. There's going to be a circus that comes at Rodgers there. There'll be a massive circus. So I don't think a lot of head coaches want to deal with this unless they have to. And like I said, but what happens in a year from now when Rodgers moves on? He's already up there in age. He's not playing 17 games next year. He'll never play 17 games in a season again. So what are you going to do if you're San Fran? It was the same question the Cowboys had to answer about Dak. Right? If you don't sign Dak, what are you doing at quarterback? You start from scratch? You're going to go out and get Kirk Cousins? We know he can't win it all. It's the same problem over and over again for these teams. If you don't sign the guy you have, who's you know what he can do for you, and you know what he can't do for you. We know Ayuk can run Shanahan's system. He knows it back and forth, and he's got. Like I said, he almost got you to the bowl here. So yes, I think they signed him. Do I think we'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe he got that much? Yeah, I do. But it's just the way it is in the NFL. It's why it is what it is. It doesn't bother me here. I didn't want the Cowboys to sign Dak, but I was the first person to tell you that. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do if they don't.
Will there be a team that says, I think there will be in the near. It happened with Le'Veon Bell with the running back market. He asked for $10 million, or he was offered 10 by the Steelers. He turned it down. He never got the same deal again. It's going to happen in the NFL at the quarterback position. Even though the cap is going up, can't go into infinity, George. We can't have these quarterbacks. What are you telling me? In 3-4 years, quarterbacks are going to be getting $80 million a year? Are they going to be getting almost $100 million? Come on.
Pretty much. There aren't 32 quarterbacks. I mean, there aren't 32. You don't have one for each team. What do you have? 20, 22? That's about it. And by the way, saying 2022, I'm counting some guys who are iffy. But teams need a quarterback. I mean, you can't win in the NFL without one. You just can't. It's rare. It's look at who keeps winning these Super Bowls. Mahomes, God, Hurts, another top 5. Right? These are all great quarterbacks that keep winning these bowls here. How many Trent Dilfers are going to win the Super Bowl? You just don't see it. Not in today's game where everything is built for the quarterback to succeed. You can't breathe on a receiver. You can't touch a quarterback. All right? No. That's a penalty. It's made for the quarterback. You can't win without one. So yeah, listen. I don't know if they'll ever get to $100 million. That means the cap is probably well over $300 million. Just do the math there. But it could, and it wouldn't shock me, by the way. But you can't win without them, Joe, and there aren't enough of them.
All right. We'll be back. We'll talk a little college hoops to bring you updated on Friday night.
Giving you sports gaming strategies and information on the level that other networks wouldn't be comfortable with. We're the home of the winning edge. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network. Money Line.
Yeah, come on. Where's tradition at? Aren't the Yankees supposed to be one of the most traditional franchises around? So, okay, if we're not about tradition anymore, how about doing away with one of the dumbest traditions of all time, which is the Yankees? Put the name on the back of your jersey at home. Hey, look, beards, mustaches, goatees, long hair, and put the name on the back of the jersey at home. How about that, New York? Is that good for tradition for you as well?
Catch Money Line with Donnie Rightside and Kevin Walsh. Weekdays, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific. On the SportsGrid Radio Network. The SportsGrid Radio Network presents This Date in Sports History.
1983, the NBA's San Diego Clippers began a 29-game losing streak. The franchise was founded as the Buffalo Braves in 1970 and moved to San Diego in 1978 and were rebranded the Clippers. In 1985, team owner Don Sterling moved the team up the freeway to LA. To this day, the Clippers have never won a conference title or NBA championship. For SportsGrid Radio, I'm Mike DeMurgis.
SportsGrid TV and radio networks are the premier streaming video and audio channels dedicated to serving the sports wagering audience. Found on major smart TV platforms and streaming on SportsGrid Radio and SiriusXM Channel 159. SportsGrid's real-time data, expert commentary, and entertaining analysis transform viewers into informed sports enthusiasts. Our weekday radio lineup begins with the early line at 8 a.m. Eastern with Ben Stevens and Donnie Rightside. Donnie joins Kevin Walsh on Money Line at 11 a.m. Eastern, followed by Football Full Circle at noon Eastern. Kaplan and crew join the party at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Pharrell Coast to Coast keeps things rolling from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern. Get in the mix with Kevin Walsh and Game Time Decisions at 6 p.m. Eastern. Evenings simmer with Carver and Lisi, then boils over with Gabe Moritzi on Sports Rage Late Night at 10 p.m. Eastern. To find out where to find SportsGrid that's best for you, go to sportsgrid.com. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. We can't make it any simpler, Sporto. All you gotta do is listen to SportsGrid.
That's listen.
Often. Pay attention. Soon you too will have the winning edge. And your friends and family will regard you with quiet awe. See? Simple. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And and Kurt, sometimes Carver. We got a montage here on Friday night. I did say we're going to talk about college basketball. There were two big games. Just give an update. Villanova upsets Marquette at home. A smash special, 81-66. So that's an upset. It looked like Eric Dixon scored 23 points in that matchup. And then you got the battle of Michigan State and Michigan getting smashed by Izzo and Sparty. 62-51, 7:39 left in the second. We'll see if they can make a run. Let me see if there's an updated number, George, just to give everybody some odds here. And then I'll tell you the life that we have in the NBA. Updated number right now, you got Michigan State minus 8.5, minus 1,800 on the money line. You want to take a shot on the Wolverines, plus 800. 147.5 is the total, minus 118 to the over. So keep an eye out for that. One other game going on, Milwaukee losing by 4 in the first half to Youngstown State. So we'll keep you updated on that. George and I were talking basically quarterbacks, talking about Brock Purdy. What about Justin Fields? Because you know how I feel about Justin Fields. I think he's going to make some team very, very happy if they take a shot. I will say, I believe Justin Fields can be like the Baker Mayfield with the right organization, the right confidence, the right scheme. Justin Fields could produce and be the face of the franchise for potentially 3 to 5 seasons. I thought last year the Jets would be a perfect fit over Aaron Rodgers because of his teammate Garrett Wilson there. He's a mobile guy. He can get acclimated with a young head coach. And if you win or overexceed expectations, he could be the face of the franchise moving forward as opposed to the situation that you have with Aaron Rodgers, right? So where does Justin Fields? Could he go to New York with Aaron Glenn? Or could he go to another organization, maybe like Tennessee? If I was Tennessee and you're telling me I could trade out of the number 1 overall pick, get a veteran quarterback like Justin Fields that potentially can develop to be that guy. He's not a waste. He won games last year for Pittsburgh. I would potentially take a shot with Fields if I'm Tennessee.
Well, first off, I agree with everything you said, by the way. I'm a Fields guy. I think the most important thing you said, though, the organization and the head coach have to buy in, and it has to be the right scheme. And what I mean by that, that scheme has to be developed for him, what he does well. He's a non-traditional quarterback, right? This is what he does. So you have to understand that's what – and your backup, by the way, has to be the same type as him. Because even when he gets hurt, you can't have a traditional quarterback there. It won't work in the offense. You can't just turn it on and turn it off. So, yes, I like what you said here. I think, listen, any team that's willing to buy in makes sense as long as you're not trying to compete right away, because it might take a season or two. All right? And listen, most teams he's going to go to aren't ready to compete this year anyway. So it works out perfectly here. I have no problem, by the way, with Tennessee trading, if they don't like Sanders, they don't like Ward, they don't think they have a true number 1 here, trade down. There will be a team that does believe in Sanders and or Ward, and you get a boatload of picks. And you want to go with Fields? Fine. So I have no problem if, once again, Tennessee does that at 1 or Cleveland even does it at 2. I think that could work out very well here. So I'm on board with you. I think Fields, the problem is, Joe, is teams lose so much patience. They don't have patience to let this develop. He's going to be new to your offense. No matter where he's going to be new to your offense, you need to let him cook for a while. And it might take half a season, 3/4. It might take a full season until he's really that guy. So you need to be willing to wait for him. But the problem is in today's NFL, we know what NFL stands for, not for long. No one has patience. I think that's the issue here. No one wants to wait for Fields to be that guy. But I love the talent. Listen, once I'm the Cowboy fan, and before when Dak, when they would think about starting Dak, I'm like, you know what? Let Dak go. Let's give Fields a shot. You start from scratch with the quarterback. You save some money here. Let's see what he can do, right? And you knew Jerry Jones wouldn't have that kind of patience.
Yeah. Well, I agree with the 100%. So that's the thing. When you price these markets, George, and you're looking for an opportunity for a team, like, you're talking about win totals. Whatever they put on Tennessee, I would assume the win total is going to be, they can't put it at 3.5, right? Even Carolina had a 5.5 win total when they drafted Bryce Young. So let's say Tennessee is in the area of 5.5. They pack a 5.5, and I know potentially Justin Fields is going there. Now all of a sudden, that team is significantly upgraded. that's a major need that you don't have to fill anymore. I'm just saying, the value of jumping the gun early with the potential to get this star type of free agent or a free agent that could, maybe solidify you for the upcoming draft where you trade out and you get 4 or 5 picks. Now that's an opportunity to maybe find a team where maybe Fields can go. Where does he go? Jets? Tennessee? Who else? Las Vegas? I don't think he would go to Las Vegas, though. That's the only thing. I don't think that's a good fit for him, to be honest with Pete Carroll. It might be, but outside of Bowers and Jacoby Myers, they're a little bit barren in terms of the offensive talent.
But if they were to sign Fields, they have the 6th pick overall. McMillan's there, right? I think that's who they should go after. That's Jake McMillan. So I kind of like that. With Fields going there and pairing McMillan. I don't know if Pete Carroll's going to want to do that once again. Pete Carroll may be the youngest old guy ever, but how many years does he have left to give? Once again, you got to wait a year or two for Fields to mature here, so that could be an issue there. But Fields, in my mind, needs to go to a team that's not ready to contend. He's not going to go to the Rams if they move on from Stafford. I just don't see that. But I think, once again, there would be an option there. I think the Raiders do make some sense. I don't think he's going back to Pittsburgh, by the way, because I don't think Tomlin believes in him. I think that's why Russell Wilson started over, because Tomlin doesn't, for whatever reason, doesn't believe in him. I don't know if the Giants or Jets in this market would do it either here. I kind of do like the Jets there. I think that would make some sense because their offensive line is so bad to avoid some of those sacks.
Yeah, it's a fast track. And that's the thing. When you have a mobile quarterback, you open up everything in regards to the RPO game. You take pressure off your offensive line. You have Braylon Allen. You have Breece Hall. You're cooking a little bit with house money there in terms of the offensive perspective. So we'll see. We'll come back. We'll wrap it up. Hour 2, Carver and Lisi.
Listening to your source of sports gaming strategies and information.
We call it the winning edge.
It helps make the odds even. This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
The Technology Minute with George Capalbo.
Researchers at Leipzig University have discovered that fruit flies, just like more sophisticated creatures, sometimes like to play. By building a bug-sized carousel 1/2 inch tall inside a glass biosphere containing almost 200 common fruit flies, filmed and tracked by image recognition software for 2 weeks. Some fruit flies terrified by the carousel, but many took the ride multiple times. The goal, not insect amusement parks, but understanding neural and biochemical traits for insect control. However, no word if fruit flies like roller coasters. Follow me at Capalbo on X and stay tuned to The Technology Minute for more cool stuff like this.
Do you use the expensive blue or yellow pills to charge your sex life? Are you thinking about it? What if we can promise you the same results for less than $3 a pill? If you're paying $20 a pill for the other pills, you're getting taken to the cleaners. Our pills deliver the exact same results for less than $3. You'll save more than $16 a pill for the same results. And right now, radio callers will get 44 blue or yellow pills for $120 with free discreet shipping. You can save more than $700 off pharmacy prices. Charge your sex life now and save a ton of money. Call now and get your 44 pills and save over $700 and qualify for free shipping. Stop overpaying and call right now.
Paid for by Steelman Pills. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. 800-823-3851. That's 800-823-3851.
You may or may not be a good SportsGrid listener. Test yourself. If you think a quarterback is a refund you get at an arcade, you're probably not a good SportsGrid listener.
Pay attention.
Make a plan.
Win.
This is the SportsGrid Radio Network.
And we're back, wrapping it up, Kurtz and Lisi on the turnstile here, wrapping up a great talk. We talked about NFL. Justin Fields potentially on the move, free agent quarterback signing. Does he stay? Does he go? Updates in terms of some of the bets that I have. CJ McCollum on the board with a 3. Kyrie Irving with 2 assists, halfway home. And how about this Zion Williamson? Shot out of a cannon with 17 points. So all we need to complete the parlay, 3 from Williamson in terms of points, 2 assists from Kyrie, and the easy part should be the 3 threes by McCollum. And we could bury that, George. We'll be good. Slow start to Anthony Edwards. I'm not going to lie, not the start I wanted. He's got a deuce with 6:22 left in the first. But he scores in bunches, George. He's like MJ. Once he gets going, you can't hold him back. So we're only 28 points from pay dirt. Be positive. Glass is half full as opposed to being half empty. Okay? Just take that assessment and we'll be fine breaking it down. Cooper Kupp.
You're getting an angry phone call.
Yeah, probably. Where does Cooper Kupp go? Best fit.
Has to be to a team that still believes. He gets hurt a lot. The best fit, once again, could be the Washington Commanders. They need a secondary receiver there. The opposite T-Mac, like that makes sense there. Cowboys make sense. It's the same teams, right? So Cowboys make sense as well. Opposite CD Lamb, but I don't think they'll do it. New England needs anybody. I don't think Kupp wants to go there. He's going to want to win. How about the Buffalo Bills? Can they swing it? Opposite there, that could make some sense. Opposite, they're going to lose Cooper. I don't think Cooper's going to go back there.
Okay, so let me take it a step further. Do you believe, because you watch a ton of football like me, right? Do you believe the productivity was due to injury or just the fact that Stafford never looked his way? That he was just never a part of the offense?
Nakua is that good. So it could be part that as well.
But why do you, okay, we all know Justin Jefferson is that good, but Darnold was still throwing to Jordan Addison half the time. How is it that Puka Nakua gets 15 of every 20 targets in the offense? How is that possible?
Listen, could he just change locker rooms and go to the Chargers? Opposite McConkey?
Yeah. Is McConkey a pure number one? Is McConkey a pure number one?
Well, no. Right. No, he'd be a better number 2, sure.
Right.
So there is that. Listen, at this point in his career, unless it doesn't cost much to acquire him and sign him, I don't want Kupp. I don't believe availability is his best ability. He's not going to play 17 games. All right, he's going to miss 3 to 4. And he's going to be hampered another 2 to 3. I'm going to get 10 games out of him where he's Cooper Kupp. So I don't want Kupp. I don't. Not for what he's going to cost, and like I said, both financially and in compensation. So I'm going to pass here. But that's me. It's a throwing league. There will be teams that believe. One way that they're going to believe him, they're going to take a shot. They're thinking, okay, now that he's out of LA, we'll tailor the offense around him. He'll have more opportunities here. He'll be happy. So he'll get a job somewhere. Except the Commanders they have. I shouldn't say they have to, but they could really use I want the Commanders to go for it. All right, you got Jay Daniels, you got the rookie contract. Let's go. I know it hurts me as a Cowboys fan, but go. They need somebody. I think they'll kick the tires on everybody. Myles Garrett, Cooper Kupp. If somebody comes available at a position they need, they should kick the tires here, including running back, by the way, because I don't believe in Brian Robinson either.
No, he's not bad.
He was awful last year.
You think?
Other than touchdowns, he did nothing else, and the touchdowns dried up in the second half.
Yeah, but they had Eckler and they had Chris Rodriguez too. They have like a 3-headed beast.
These are all 2s and 3s, and they're not a beast. It's a 3-headed, I don't know, little snake.
Yeah, all right. You don't seem to.
I don't think it's their most pressing need. How about that? I don't think it's their most pressing need. They need defensive help. They need that secondary wide receiver. And I don't know, does Zach Ertz have the fountain of youth again? He was great last year for a guy.
He was great.
Probably not.
He was. I know. 10 receptions in the NFC Championship game for 104 yards. Unbelievable performance. And he had done that throughout the regular season. There were games he had, what game? 96 yards against Atlanta. He stepped up, so we shall see. It's been a great 2 days with me, George Kurtz, Matthias Burbell, and we have JP on the turnstile as well. Great producers. Have a great weekend, everyone. Carver will be back on Monday. Lisi, Kurtz, and sometimes Carver coming back on Monday, guys.
Luck is winning the lottery. Strategy is settling your divorce before cashing in the ticket. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.